Welcome back to Newsday. Still with us to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world are Arise anchor Vimbai Mutiniri Ekpayong, I'm trying to get this right, and Mr. Daishu Wale, Arise news analyst. Welcome, even though you've been here all the while. Vimbai, over to you.
Let's get straight into it so we can use up all of our time. We kick off with this day, of course. And this day is leading, as most of the papers are today, with the budget, the signing of the budget by President Bola Tinubu. Tinubu signs 28.7 trillion naira budget, elated by 100 billion, approved for school feeding nationwide, mandates MDAs to provide monthly performance reports, budget focused on growing nation's economy, says Edun. Government to rely on less borrowing, more on revenue to fund budget. Bagudu, it's a game changer that increased spending in priority areas, and National Assembly will ensure proper implementation of 2024 Appropriation Act, and that's according to Akpabio. And just in the same breath, of course, we've seen the PDP reacting to the president's New Year's message. That's just below the masthead. PDP knocks budget, says it's a harvest of deceit, empty claims. Describes Tinubu's New Year address as admission of failure. Labour dismisses his speech as arrogant display of dishonesty. Atiku, FG's commitment to eliminate security threat will stem attacks in Nigeria. Mr. Shobwale is already giggling in the background, so...
I'm marveling at their language.
Well,
the language of dissent, the entitlement.
Yes. You know, while we're talking of the language, you know, let's quickly go to the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper has a story just below the masthead. It's okay, I have the digital version. Okay. You know, next to the leading image, PDP, Labour Party in battle over opposition role. Now, this story is all about Labour Party. Of course, the presidential candidate for the Labour Party in the last election, Peter Obi, also shared a New Year message where he referred to Labour Party as the main opposition and said the party is looking forward to being the main opposition in 2024. And of course, PDP is biting back to say, who made you the main opposition? Mr. Shobwale, your take on that?
Well, it's apparent from our last discussion. You see, I was trying to say that PDP had not put his house in order because of the WK matter. Or else, who is Labour to be, you know, rubbing shoulders with PDP? Even before, PDP made Obi as presidential candidate because he was at the primaries. It was when they outfitted him that he bolted to Labour and he came third. So he's in a position. If you look at the results, I mean, it's like the seats were partitioned into three. Although Tinubu won, but it's like each one of them got 11 or above. So, we don't need one opposition. Let them clash over it. That gives us even a more vibrant opposition. Yes. It shows we'll have a vibrant opposition. And the electorate will have more choices to make, depending on the performance of the incumbent party and how these people are able to hold it on its toes to perform as they were elected to perform, to rescue people from the pains and pangs of what we are going through.
But what about the reactions, though, of the the president's speech yesterday, and from Labour and all, and PDP?
Their language. You want me to be using their language? Yeah?
I'm asking you your take is.
See, the language was very harsh. Was very harsh. You see, that should be constructive criticism. Read it now. That of Labour.
It's Labour.
No, read the.
Well, I'll just
PDP
go with the summary. PDP knocks budget, says it's harvest of deceit, empty claims. Labour dismisses the speech as arrogant display of dishonesty.
See the one by NLC too.
Do I have the quote? I don't have the quote on me, but it was similar language.
See, when people say there's no press freedom in Nigeria or that we don't have a democracy, it's a lie. See, we have a very vibrant democracy. And this is how, it's things like this that those who are doing dissertation, PhDs and so on, that they collate and they show you what is on the ground at a particular point in time in the nation. That's it in Nigeria. If you see it later, in later years now, when some people will say there's no opposition in Nigeria, are we not witnessing it right on the spot now?
That's right.
That's practical politics.
Politics of words. Let's see how far it gets us, and let's see if we can get results.
What's ammunition in politics?
Words. That's it.
Real, no? Real ammunition.
They're firing at each other. Well, let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper, which is setting the tone for a conversation that I think is going to be a pretty big conversation. Plateau attacks. Groups slam Chief of Army Staff on why Nigerians can't bear arms. So the Middle Belt Forum, Afenifere, JNI and PANDEF have kicked back because they believe that they should be allowed to bear arms in order to protect themselves and their communities. They say Nigerians should be allowed arms to defend themselves. They say embargo amounts to conspiracy against the people, insists it's time Nigerians are given access to higher grades of arms, and Nigerians have a right to defend themselves. That's Afenifere. People can defend themselves where government fails to defend them. Now, JNI is saying if the army can't defend people, should they allow themselves to be killed? Can, however, is saying allowing Nigerians to bear firearms is a recipe for disaster, which also echoes the sentiments of the Chief of Army Staff, that's Lieutenant General Lateef Lagbaja, who's saying allowing people to bear arms to defend themselves against attacks might lead to anarchy. Gun regulations, Mr. Shobowale, in the light of...
you see, it's a dicey situation. It's like what is happening in the US. Some people are ready to defend their right to bear arms, to defend themselves. But in other, like Britain, even the police don't carry guns, not to talk of citizens. But now they are given some special units to carry guns. So it's the same thing. And there are no other fast rules about these things. If government cannot provide protection, you see, it becomes suicidal for people to be living in that community, which is what the Plateau people are trying to say is that they are killing their people, but they too, if they have arms, they will be able to defend themselves. And that is very logical. That was what the legacy of the late governor of Ondo State, Amotekun.
Yes.
Even though he's a lawyer, he was trying to circumvent all the laws to make sure that he can establish his own. But then the law is very clear. The law is very clear. Although people now can say categorically, people have made an ass of the law in terms of security, in that they are killing people and people cannot defend themselves because the law says they cannot carry arms. It's like making an ass of the law. And the government should protect people. Actually, my heart goes to the Plateau people more than, but they've been killing them more than in any part of the nation in recent times. And Kaduna, Jigawa, they have turned into killing fields of the north. Government must protect. The kind person is right to say people, you know, the only people, they don't want people to be shot. But it is the duty of government to protect its citizens so they are not killed. When, if indeed, they have access to ammunition, they will protect themselves. So
it's a tricky conversation. Yeah. It's a tricky conversation.
You see, the best way to illustrate it is to refer to the US. The gun lobby. True. They are very strong. Can't take away my gun. But they are killing people more. And but the gun lobby people are saying, no, go and find out where to kill people. That in states where they have guns, they kill less people than in states where you say people should not carry arms. Well, it's a dicey situation. Yeah.
If the Chief of Army Staff is trying to, make, say that people shouldn't carry arms, then they better up the game to ensure that there's no repeats, because you can't. There's no rationalization of people having to bury their family every other week. It makes absolutely no sense. Wonderful review. Thank you, Vimbai. Thank you, Mr. Shobowale. It's been wonderful. Thank you both.